So Burger King files for bankruptcy, hundreds of stores closing. Is it possibly time to see the end of the behemoth known as Burger King? If you follow the channel, you know that several years ago we suggested that the Burger King franchise system might be in decline and no longer can be considered a premium investment. Now today, a major operator in the Burger King system announced they were declaring bankruptcy. This is 90 more of the hundreds of Burger King stores that are closing. We'll look at those in a minute. Now, Tom's King, it's a franchisee who had 90 stores in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, announced that their revenues during the period of the Coof had decreased, and they'd brought on over $35 million in secured debt, $14 million in unsecured debt, which is a whole lot of money in such a short period of time. Now, apparently, 200 potential purchasers have been contacted to look at purchasing these struggling locations. Now, can you think of a better investment than restaurants that are losing millions of dollars? Now, if we take a look at net closures, we see in 2020, Burger King closed a total of 265 stores, and growth over the past 3 years very sluggish since 2019. You might wonder, how is McDonald's doing comparatively? Well, they weren't that great either, closing 44 stores in 2019. They closed 163 stores in 2020 and almost 250 in 2021. And keep in mind, these are net numbers, with the stores that were sold backed out of these numbers. So the actual closures are going to be even higher. Now, a wise person once said, you can't step in the same river twice. Take heed if you're looking at buying a franchise. Many investors, they buy these massive brand names because they assume they're the most reliable. And usually they've heard of someone who bought 10 years ago, their uncle, their uncle's friend, their uncle's gardener's friend's cousin twice removed. They bought one of these franchises 10 years ago and they made a ton of money. But you have to keep in mind, every franchise system has a life cycle. We start with emergence, we see growth, we see peak, and ultimately decline. It's inevitable. It happens with franchises, happens with civilizations. This is just the way things work. Now, if you want to experience a similar success of the people who bought in 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you really should consider taking a look at emerging, well-positioned brands and grow along with the franchise system. Now, remember also, a franchise that is newer has great territories that are still available, while all the major brands have these leftover crumbs of territories remaining, unless, of course, you buy a resale, which is going to cost you several million dollars. Now, a quick comparison even between Burger King and McDonald's shows that for a similar investment size, an average McDonald's generates $3.4 million, while an average Burger King does only $1.4 million. That's less than half of what a McDonald's can potentially earn. Your investment is approximately the same amount. So why is it that people still buy Burger King? Well, in many cases, they just didn't have access to the numbers of other franchise earnings, and they most certainly didn't call franchise.city. We could have told them, or in some cases, it's just the prestige of the Burger King name. But is the Burger King name still what it once was? Now, to me, and this is my opinion, Burger King smacks of a declining brand that's unable to alter its inexorable course into the junk pile. Again, in my opinion, it's far more likely that you're going to see a filthy Burger King bathroom than a dirty McDonald's bathroom. And let me know if you agree down in the comments. Now, from roaches and rodents to filthy kitchens with employees standing in the lettuce bins, mopping the tables using filthy floor mops, these are the things that you just don't see at all, or at least as often, with the other brands. Burger King on the whole, they just don't seem to be as buttoned up on keeping their independent operators supporting a consistent standards. And that seems to translate directly to profits. If your bathrooms are dirty, your stores, people are standing in lettuce, you're probably not going to make as much money. Now, the brand itself also seems to be quite out of touch, with some of these ad campaigns maybe trying a little bit too hard. Now, Burger King got into hot water with some of their advertising that offered 2 equal buns for Pride Month. So you could get 2 top buns or 2 bottom buns And even the LGBTQ community said, hey, thanks, Burger King, but you guys are just being gross right now. This innuendo is a bit much. And yes, this is exactly the same Burger King that today is trying to seem like this incredibly virtuous group, but a few years ago, they created the ad for their 7-incher. It'll blow your mind away. Fill your desire for something long, juicy, and flame-grilled with the new BK Super 7-incher. Go home, Burger King. You've been drinking